Imagine looking at the security feed of your empty gym at 3 a.m., only to realize the figure standing in the shadows isn't a member. And worse, they're looking right at the camera, smiling at you. But what the night manager, David, discovered inside the intruder's abandoned duffel bag wouldn't just force the police to evacuate the entire building. It would uncover a deeply disturbing secret that this small town had desperately tried to keep buried for decades. A secret you'll finally understand at the end of this video. To understand why David refuses to go out after dark today, we have to go back to a freezing Tuesday night in November. David was managing a 24-hour fitness center situated right on the desolate edge of the dense, fog-covered Blackwood Forest.
It was a notoriously quiet area, the kind of place where the silence is so heavy it actually rings in your ears. By 2 a.m., the last regular member had swiped out, leaving David completely alone in the massive, brightly lit facility. Or so he thought. At exactly 2:45 a.m., a freezing draft swept through the front lobby, carrying with it the undeniable scent of damp earth and metallic rust. David shivered, pulling his jacket tighter. He glanced up at the wall of security monitors. What he saw on screen number 4 made his stomach drop. Camera 4 was positioned at the very back of the free weight room, a blind spot from the front desk. Standing directly in the center of the room was a tall, unnervingly thin man. The gym required a strict electronic keycard for entry, and the computer system hadn't beeped in nearly an hour. No exterior doors had opened, so how did he get inside? David assumed it was just a horrifying prank or a system glitch, but when he leaned in and magnified the camera feed, his blood ran completely cold. The intruder wasn't wearing workout clothes. He was draped in a tattered, muddy trench coat, and covering his face was a decaying vintage leather gas mask. The man was completely motionless, staring blankly at his own reflection in the wall-to-wall mirrors. David's hand hovered frantically over the police panic button beneath the desk. He watched the grainy screen, terrified to even blink. Then the nightmare escalated. The man in the gas mask slowly turned his head away from the mirror.
He looked directly up into the lens of camera 4, and slowly, deliberately, he raised a gloved hand and pointed a single finger straight at the camera. He knew David was watching him. Before David could press the panic button, a loud, violent crack echoed through the building. The power grid completely failed. The bright fluorescent lights shattered into darkness, plunging the entire gym into pitch black, illuminated only by the faint, bloody glow of the red emergency exit signs. David scrambled under the reception desk, his heart violently pounding against his ribs. He clutched a heavy metal flashlight, clicking it off to remain hidden. In the suffocating silence, a new sound began. Squish, thud, squish, thud. Heavy, wet boots were walking down the rubber mats of the hallway,
Moving methodically away from the weight room, heading straight toward the front lobby. David held his breath, pressing his hands over his mouth. He knew a single squeak of his shoes would give away his exact location. The horrific wet footsteps stopped. They were right on the other side of the thin wooden desk. For what felt like an eternity, there was absolute, paralyzing silence. David closed his eyes, waiting for the inevitable. Then, a raspy, distorted voice whispered from right above him, "I left a gift for you in locker 42. Suddenly, the front glass doors were violently forced open, shattering the lock, and the man bolted out into the dense fog, instantly swallowed by the tree line. When the police finally arrived 15 minutes later,
They swept the entire 10,000 square foot building with weapons drawn. They didn't find the man in the gas mask anywhere in the woods, but they did immediately locate what he had left behind. Inside locker 42 sat a rotting canvas duffel bag. When the lead detective unzipped it, he took one look inside, went pale, and instantly ordered the evacuation of the entire block. Inside the bag weren't weapons or stolen gym equipment. It was a collection of over 50 missing persons posters from the 1980s, hundreds of candid photographs of David sleeping inside his own locked apartment, and a detailed map of the gym's overhead ventilation system, heavily circled in thick red marker. The intruder hadn't just broken in that night. According to the crushed food wrappers and a makeshift bed, the police found in the ceiling tiles directly above the front desk, the man in the gas mask had been secretly living above David for 3 entire weeks, just watching him. And the scariest part? The police never found him.